Welcome to The Real Deal, a Real Madrid podcast with me, Jarod Hector. I'm joined by Sid Ramsendar. What's up, Sid?
This is the least mad I've been after a loss. I was just telling you before, in a long time. I'm normally kind of mad. I'm like, what are they doing? But I just feel like the chips kind of fell in a way where A, the players tried, B, they realized you can't scapegoat Mbappe. Like, the fan base kind of saw that. Like, the guys just missed one shot on target the whole game without Mbappe. So I think a bit of the narrative's cooled down. It's like, hey, we have to back the coach. Look what the team did. Like, so wasteful in front of goal. And like, I feel like the weaknesses were things that we need to work on. And you can't misconstrue this in a way where you screw our club with the decisions or conclusions you take. Like, clear weaknesses, like clear fallacies put to bed, clearly obvious that if they try, things work better. Even Endrick got some minutes, man. That was an Alonso mistake. And that's finally like the dressing room power, so to speak, has tilted where I believe the loan might be over too, the Leon loan. I think he might be playing.
I saw some stuff around that, yeah.
So I'm actually happy. I don't know why. I'm mad that between the Clasico and today, all this bullshit has happened that led us here. The fact that the players need to see this much evidence for the fact that their way doesn't work pisses me off. But I think today was just great in that regard. Like a loss that doesn't make you lose belief in the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, Sid. It's funny, like you, I'm not angry after the loss. I'm like you. I'm like, that was proof positive, right, to what we think and what we've been saying should have been happening all along, right? First of all, the fact that we have to say, "Oh, look what happens when you try," right? Like that is wild, right? Like, this is Real fucking Madrid. Trying should not. That should be an automatic. Not even that. Just goes without saying. And I said this to you before we started. The ethos of the club and the constant prioritization of the Champions League over all else. And look, the Champions League is awesome. I love that we're the most storied club in all of world football and it's won the most and no club's going to catch us. I love all that. But when you constantly have that be the mindset and guys don't care about regular La Liga games, this turn on and off the switch, that is also a fallacy, Sid. This idea that you can just flip it on and off whenever you want, like that's not how sports works, because you have a team and an opponent you are playing, bad guys who are trying to also win the game. So this idea of like, let me just flip it on when we're ready. Like, no, you can't flip it on when you're ready. And to me, where it was proof positive was the amount of wasteful chances in front of goal, right? And that's because you're not sharp. Why are you not sharp? Because you're not always trying with the requisite effort, right? And you're not doing what is necessary. You know, in this match, Sid, I saw as the game got out of hand. And by the way, two things that need to be noted. Real Madrid still are terrible at set pieces, at defending set pieces. Still fucking awful at that. Like these restarts, and especially if you're going to play these elite teams, especially in the Premier League, who are masters at set pieces, like this is how you lose games, right? In a low margin sport, you screw around and you're not doing what you're supposed to do on set pieces. This is how you lose, right? It was a one goal margin game and we wasted chances in front of goal. So that's another area, obviously, of improvement for this team.
Yeah. So I think why don't we start with a quick recap of like how the game went for people who might not have tuned in or kind of want to review. It's like the game from an open play perspective defensively went really well. Like in open play, I was not afraid of Man City at all. We start the game pressing really high, man-to-man, and we go up 1-0 with that Rodrygo goal, which was a little fluky, but at this point, I guess he's due a fluky goal whenever he plays Man City. It's fluky in the sense that you're like, wow, like that he doesn't score that against any other team, doesn't run that angle against any other team.
The angle was wild, but... And I will say this about Rodrygo. I thought he played well today. Like, and so in that way, he deserved whatever deserved mean. I hate using that word in sports because you deserve whatever that fuck that means. But that was a great pass by Jude, a good angle, and Rodrygo struck it with confidence, and it went in. So good for him and good for us.
And big call, big moment, because a lot of people have been criticizing Alonso. Why Rodrygo? And he comes in, he actually justifies his selection in a big game where we need speed, which shocked me. Like anytime we've needed burst since Man City last time we beat them in 2020, he just doesn't feel like he's there. But
Yep.
he cooked his fullback today.
Mm-hmm.
He was constantly like his burst when he was moving past someone was ridiculous, and I thought he vindicated Alonso's choice in him because some people say Alonso doesn't mind a right-footed right winger who kind of like stretches the pitch, dribbles wide, like not always coming inside. And Rodrygo doesn't have the athleticism for that. But I feel like Rodrygo scoring and Endrick getting some time and Gonzalo getting some time, we kind of got the best of everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The biggest Alonso mistake was Endrick or Garcia. And today he starts Gonzalo up front. He gives Rodrygo the run next to him, and they look great. But
Mm-hmm.
going back to that first half, so I feel like we were pretty close to flawless up till when we went up 1-0. And
Mm-hmm.
then the set piece stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we start with that? Like, obviously Courtois makes a mistake and Rudiger gives up the penalty. Rudiger
Mm-hmm.
also falls over on the goal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in general, like we're bad at set pieces, but like the individual where a lot of the breakdowns came from today was Rudiger, like not great defensively.
So, one of the things that happens, I feel like for this club, Sid, is that, and it's not just indicative of Real Madrid, but a lot of clubs do this. There's a lot of chicanery and tomfoolery that goes on inside the box on set pieces, right? Guys trying to trick the referees into giving them calls, right? Throwing themselves to the ground, like all kinds of things like that. And to me, it's one thing to do it when you are a player bursting into the box with the ball at your feet, and a guy touches you and you go to ground. That makes sense because you're likely going to get the penalty there. But when you are defending a set piece, this like fooling around and falling on the ground shit, like no, like you cannot like stand up, fucking man mark your man or whatever the coach's instructions were, and execute and do your job. Again, because in a low margin sport, a spill by Courtois in front, our center back is down on the ground. He can't get up and clear the ball away. O'Reilly's right in front. O'Reilly scored that, right, for City?
Yeah.
I think it was. He's right in front. Easiest goal he'll ever score in his life, right? Like, it's just too many things can go wrong inside the box on set pieces.
Yeah, and so Rudiger's a mess. And I also feel like Fede was not that good. Like, just moving the ball wasn't great. Defensively, he worked, but I just feel like the guy has lost so much, and both of these guys were guys we predicted would be running to the ground when they were kind of holding Carlos' team together last year for no reason, a team that wasn't going anywhere. And now it's crazy because we have a system and we need guys who can play, and these guys are subpar now and not holding it together. We're trying to hold the team together in spite of them, and I do feel like the in possession was a big issue after we gave up the 2 goals. So we give up 2. I liked our defense before we gave up 2.
The mid block was compact. When we dropped into that mid block, I thought City had like nothing to do in the middle of the pitch. It was like, well, keep going outside the Doku if you want, which I mean was their best option. We were able to sidestep a couple things, a couple good interventions late, but I thought we clogged the middle of the pitch really well when we sat in that mid block.
Yeah, and a big part of that was like the way Gonzalo and Vinny double teamed the middle of like Gonzalo obviously initiated better than Mbappe, and together they were able to close down Nico Gonzalez and just force the ball wide again and again. Yeah, City looked nervous, and I wasn't too threatened by them, which is what makes conceding 2 goals so disappointing. Like they did not look like they could protagonistically hurt us.
Well, because they scored on a set piece or 2 set pieces, right? Stoppage, a penalty, and a set piece. They didn't do anything in open play, right? But we were able to really stop them in open play. They had chances, of course, but I think when you look at the XG, according to Mark's stat spots, it was 2.59 for City, 1.71 for us, and I have to believe that a big part of that 2.59 was the penalty shot, right? Like,
yeah. No, I checked. I believe like 1.4 of their 2 chances were 1.4, and they got everything else from. They kind of tacked it on. They created more than us, but like the last, I guess, like looking at the chart, I'll just pull it up onto the screen. The first half after they scored the first one, we really start falling apart. Like we start pressing a little, like going for another. We give up spaces in behind, and
a little disjointed.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good. And you can see on the chart. Whoops, wrong setup. There we go. So on the chart, first half, we get our chance. They don't create anything till their goal. Their first 2 goals are their first 2 shots on target. and both from set play situations. This was so infuriating. Oh my God. As a Xabi Alonso supporter, we got it right. That was maddening. Okay, fine. That happens. At that point, like, listen, all our teams, our 3P teams, they would go down like all the time and just keep coming back. So do we have the agency to go do things after that? So we give up another chance from Haaland. Courtois double save, goes dummy.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Listen, he made up for that mistake immediately after. So we're halftime. We're down 2-1. And I see now on the chart, they do get a couple chances and we get a little bit. Vinny feels a little wasteful at the start, but I feel like at some point, once they went up, Jarod, they started defending us the way we did them. And we don't even have a Nico Gonzalez. Like, we don't even have that. We don't have a Nunez. Like, Nunez is better than Fede Valverde on the ball. Way better. And what were you seeing there? Like, for me, I thought, like, the start of the second half, and we'll get to the subs, but people were criticizing the subs. I just thought the start of the second half, once we went down 2-1, City just realized, like, hey, they can't play either. Like, and I saw a good tweet from someone on Twitter. Basically, City kind of hurt themselves by having to play with the ball against us. Because if you give us the ball, we're a shit show.
Correct. Because we will misplace passes and then you can crush us on the counter. That's exactly what I saw, Sid. And I think it's indicative of this idea of, like, when in the second half, City decided to, because possession changed. I think towards the end of the game, I think it went 55-45 us, I think. Were the final stats. When City and Pep realized this, I'm sure, it was like, oh, just sit in a low block, because this team can't do shit when you sit in a low block. So it's fine. Right? Like, and we had chances, but we're not able to convert them. And Sid, the reason why I think we're not able to convert them is because it was that thing that happened under Carlo, which is, we're down. A player individually has to take it upon, says, I'm going to take it upon myself to score and get us out from this situation, as opposed to, wait, if I just move the ball a little bit, someone's open, it's going to be an easier goal, right? I think we saw Gonzalo twice in front of goal being like, on the Rodrygo one, okay, fine, Rodrygo scored him, it didn't matter. But on the Jude Dinger, he's like, I'm wide, right here. It's an easy tap in, right? Like,
Jude was
maybe
right
Jude
at the
didn't
start,
see him.
Second half, right at the start. Okay.
Pretty close to the start.
I think the both halves were interesting because the first half we didn't create, and I thought we were wasteful, honestly. Like, Vinicius, some of the decision making was so far off what he used to be at his best. And this is where, like, it's been bad for so long. I don't know. And when you combine it with the underlying numbers, I just don't know how you justify making him the number one option who can give the ball away whenever he wants.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You just don't.
Right. And he made so many mistakes. Rodrygo was releasing the ball way faster in the first half to him. And Gonzalo is literally a role player. His touch can be bad. I think Gonzalo's touch is limiting. And I'll say this. I think Gonzalo's touch, even though he plays a role and creates the dynamics, being limiting, and Vinny being like a bad decision maker the way he's playing right now, killed a very good spell of play we had in the first half. We could have made it 2. And if you see the expected goals, we created nothing. We were so wasteful from some of the danger we had. And the second half, I'll say this. You can say we missed it, blah, blah, blah. Vinny missed that volley, which was 0.33 expected goals late in the game. Well, first, like, the first 10 minutes of the second half, we get those chances, but I feel like we start losing our foothold on the game because we don't have anyone who can turn out of pressure. City kind of know this, and they kind of start.
Jude.
Yep. And also Gonzalo, I do believe after a certain point on the pitch, teams realize that he is limited in build-up too. He's kind of like Victor Gyökeres, like, okay, he can pin some guys, but when it's like a one-on-one situation in the box, sometimes his touch or his overall qualitative advantage is not quite as high as these other guys. So I think what happened was Xabi saw the team losing, like, unable to keep the ball. He's like, okay, we're not going out sad. I'm bringing on my ball handlers. So he brings in Brahim and Arda, who has struggled defensively. But the idea is, like, against a City team that's actually really weak defensively, you can afford to sneak him because you're not worried City will create that much, which was proven right, by the way. City did not create anything once Arda came on. So Arda and Brahim come in, Jude moves higher up. And I just feel like the only mistake Xabi made, I'll say, there was 10 minutes when Gonzalo was off and Endrick wasn't on, and Tchouaméni was playing midfield, Asensio and Rudiger at the back. That 10 minutes, City got away with it. Because you look at our chances, Jarod, at the 75th minute,
Yeah.
Once Endrick's here, they start again. If we had 10 more minutes of those, we might have got it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't look at that second half and blame the players. I think that's when you create an expected goal worth of chances. I think why couldn't we create two? Like, and we have reasons for that, but I do think fundamentally, I can't say the game plan didn't work those last 25 minutes. Like City were pretty much defending their box. They were like, we were getting the ball there. They were scared. I just feel like that second half, it's too easy to nitpick. And we were missing Mbappe. Now, where I criticize the players, why is Rodrygo's shot on target the only one, Jarod, in the whole game? They just did not put the ball on target.
It was mind-blowing to me, Sid. Did the Endrick post, that counted, right? The Endrick header off the post, that count?
That, I guess that's the second. That's the only other one then. If that counts, I'm not sure.
I think that does that. Well, that's the second one. And that made me realize, wow, like not just because of that, but just again, he's such a chaos agent, like, right? Like, why isn't he on the pitch? Like he adds so much width to that size, right? You can't, if he's on that side and Vinny's on the left or Rodrygo's on the left and Vinny's on you can't just focus on one side of the pitch because he might do something wild and crazy over there. And he has goal scoring and a striker's instincts, Sid. Like that, it's just in he's wired that way. And sometimes those instincts are all you need because the gravity pulls a defender with you. It causes the other team to get out of shape. And now we're doing what we're doing, right? So yeah. So look, we've been very clear that Xabi has not been perfect. And this is one of the areas where he has not been. It's like, bro, you gave Arda a lot of rope and chance. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have, but why didn't you give Endrick at least some of the minutes you gave to Massantuano? And when Massantuano went out, why didn't you put him in? Like, right? Like, because again, he provides something that Brahim doesn't. Brahim much better, of course, with the ball at his feet and like keeping possession in that way. But in a game where we need a goal, I don't know that we necessarily need another person to keep the ball at their feet, right? We have a bunch of players who do that, right? I need someone to get their ass in the box and cause something crazy to happen, like we saw. And again, in a low margin sport, not half an inch lower, that's a goal. Donnarumma was beat, right? Like he was beat. That's a goal. Like, and yeah, maybe we're 2-2, and we're talking about a tie as opposed to a loss.
Or 10 more minutes of him when Gonzalo went out. I get that though. He didn't want to spend like more than 15 minutes with just Tchouaméni and another center back is like the guys back there. That was a lot of attackers. 65th minute is a little early to take off like all the it's a little early.
Yeah, because it could have gotten really ugly, right? Like on the counter, like because all City needed was like one counter in that scenario. And they are probably, especially with Holland wasn't taken off yet at that point. They are very much more clinical than we are finishing in front of net, right? Like that guy gets a chance. He's burying that sucker, right? So, or Doku.
Yeah. For sure they were, it's not even the clinicality. I just feel like the fact that they like make the right choice sometimes, like pass. Doku was doing that.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Sid, making the right choice and the right path. So pass. So, and I want you to bear with me on this because, and you saw this, I tweeted out this morning. As many of our listeners know, I work for True Hoop. I cover the NBA as well as Real Madrid. And our CEO, Henry Abbott, put out a great piece about the Oklahoma City Thunder, who look like they are the burgeoning dynasty in the NBA right now. And Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City front office was just named the top front office in the NBA. Not just because they won the title, but because of what Sam's philosophy and mindset is as he's thinking about not just who I'm going to bring in on the roster, but when I look for a coach, these are the things that we're thinking of. So, and Presti and the Thunder are notorious for being tight-lipped and not saying shit, much like Real Madrid is. But at the beginning of the season, when he was asked about hiring Mark Daigneault, who is the Thunder head coach, this is what he said. We talked clearly at the time, when he was hired, about why he was hired, how he would help us create the kind of play style that could be scaled upon, and will continue to adapt the mentality of discovery. The challenge is maintaining that mindset once you've had some level of success. And I think I'm not talking about the fact that we happen to be fortunate enough to win the title last year, but once you find a formula, human nature is to fall back on that. And I think ultra competitors, their default is to improve and challenge their own standards versus we know this works. And Sid, I think that so much of that is the heart of what is hurting Real Madrid right now, right? Like, and we saw it kind of bear out in this instance. Xabi is antithetical to what has worked, right, for this club over the course of its history, which is we have managers who are less tactically disciplined, although Zidane's much more tactically disciplined than people give him credit for, and so is Carlo. But we want guys who freedom, right, and let players do more control on that end, right? And the pushback we often get is that, but we've won 6 Champions Leagues in 10 years with that philosophy, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
The point we've been saying is, no, but it is broken, right? Like, that's the thing.
Well,
it is broke.
Also, like, you're not far from drinking so much of your Kool-Aid that you go another 30 years without winning one like we did before. Like, I'm not here for 30 years without winning one. Real Deal Pods is over if that happens.
Shit, 30 years? I might be dead in 30 years. What are we talking about? Like,
oh, yeah. Yeah. And so the level of complacence. And so I think it's important to, like, recognize, you have to change. And that's where I go back to, like, you have to survive too. And we are a commercial entity. So,
of course.
So when you win the Champions League and you get a chance to get a player who scores 50 goals a season on a free transfer,
you get him.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't fit. Unless you have one or two guys who already do that, which we did not. It's
correct.
If we had prime Cristiano and Benzema already, fine. You maybe think, do we need him? But we didn't have one guy producing on that level. Vinny was a number one option who played 30-90s that year, like did not play the whole season. So yeah, I think the idea that we need to go back to who we were. And I think that was dispelled today because we saw the shooting without Mbappe. It's like, hey guys, like, what if we just had someone who's obsessed with shooting, who works on that, who might do it to a fault to the point where he doesn't combine well with you. But you can't go wrong with someone obsessed with shooting. Like, people
that point you made right there is perfect, right? So we talked about Vinny and some of his decision making and some of the wastefulness of the whole team, right? With just that final third, right? And so I'm going back to that article because this is Sam talking about Chet Holmgren now, who's on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chet's instincts to drive winning are unique, extremely unique, and he's extremely ambitious. But his ambition never crosses over into agenda. And we want ambitious players. But, you just don't want that ambition to bleed into an agenda. And we have not had that, obviously, because he wouldn't have been able to be the type of success we've had, and if that was the case. And so that's what I think part of the problem is that we have players whose ambition has turned into agenda, right? And this is our issue, right? Like, because I have to score these goals because I have to get this thing to make. No, man, we need to score these goals right now to win this game, not you, right? Like, and I think, it's the old adage, right? Of like a player who would rather lose 4-3 but scoring the hat trick than win 2-0 having not scored, right? Like, no, we want the latter, right? We want the latter. Like, it's got to be about what's best for us, not what's best for me, right? Like, yeah. And I think that was what we saw on display today a little bit with some of the late chances. Like, oh my God, if we just lay it off one more and like just pick your head up or tilt your eye, like it's right there.
I actually thought today we saw a little bit of nerves from those guys. It's like, oh, no Mbappe, we got to show up, we got to score, put it in the back of the net. And Jude and Vinny felt just a little nervy. Vinny sometimes, like, Vinny's a high volume guy, he gets on the end of a lot. Jude doesn't always. So when he misses something like that, I am more curious. It's but I would say one interesting thing, what you said on goals and agendas, that feels like because Florentino is so obsessed with like the commercial portfolio, he brings in Mbappe and doesn't worry about balance. These players just start thinking that way too. It feels like a reflection from the top down. And that's where I do blame Florentino a little. Because like,
of course,
he's like setting the tone that, hey, I like, it's all commercial. It's a commercial vibe. And it's like, okay, Vinny's then trying to optimize for 30 million or Ballon d'Or.
Of course.
Or a contract worthy of someone who should have won the Ballon d'Or. Now that's his thought process. And then you have Mbappe has always been like this. And I just want to reiterate, he just shoots so much that you can make it work for the team. The agenda of wanting to shoot is okay. It's like if you can shoot 7 times a game like he does. But it's funny because Jude's game has and Fede's are actually the ones that I feel like have changed. And Fede, it's one of the Real Madrid accounts retweeted the ESPN FC tweet from a few years ago. Fede has his eyes on the prize with the Ballon d'Or. That looks, man, that timeline is long gone. That was another timeline.
and I think, part of it too is look, these guys are human. We say it all the time, right? When Jude came to Real Madrid his first season, Carlo wanted Harry Kane, right? Because he's like, we're losing Benzema. I want a 9. Florentino was like, no, figure out how to make it work without that. all right, well, fuck it. I'm I'll make Jude into a false nine
And now
because
Jude,
he had no choice. This is what you gave me, right? Okay,
and now Jude's addicted. Now he's addicted.
Correct. And now Jude's like, well, is this who I am? Because again, think about it. What would Jude be like now, Sid, if Carlo had also gotten his wish and gotten Harry Kane that year?
Jude would honestly be more of what we need for sure, like for this team. But I see the thing is like, I think that's just unfortunate because like
of course
that's
it is.
I'm saying because I'm glad we got like what we got. We were never gonna get in any other situation, but I think it's got I just think it's interesting that we've reached like Jude is not as comfortable too, just playing deeper too. I think that also just changed fundamentally. Like even beyond his mindset, he's just become like a little more like I feel like his build is just a little more suited to like playing up front, like a little stronger, less about pure agility and moving box to box. And he defends so hard for this team. So I think then it's like, how much more like ground coverage do you want while progressing? But yeah, the idea is like Dortmund Jude disappeared because of goals. Mbappe is worried about his achievements. And well, today I think that's where I'm not sure how far we're past everything. Because today without Mbappe, you lose some of the like goal scorers and you get more role players in. When everyone's there, we still have the same issue because as someone pointed out in the comments, this all started when we were winning and Vinny just got mad for getting taken off. And
correct. We were up. We won 2 and win the match. We said it on our post game show, right? Sid, we understood any player gets mad when they get taken off. We all understood that, but to do that in that manner, right, in front of everybody, and for there to be no repercussion, that's when the slippery slope started, right? If he was punished, and you know me, Sid, I'm basically all these things are, or what I view are, management versus labor issues, right? That's what all this stuff is. And in most cases, 99.9% of the time, I am pro labor. That's just who I am as a person. But in this instance, right, that was wrong. He needed to be punished for that. Because if he was, it would have set a clear tone like, oh, well, if you do this, this is what happens. All right, we may be resisting the change because it's uncomfortable to us, but we know this is the way we got to roll. Once that started, it was like, oh, well, maybe if I assert a little bit of aggression and agenda, like I can get my way too, right? Like once that happened, right, we were on the other side of the scale. Much different to how it was Club World Cup and early in the season when he wasn't playing them, right? Like that was the mind. That was who we needed to see.
I wonder if Juni Califat's camp is happier now. Endrick's loan is closing. Rodrygo played well, and like this point, the Vinny situation is not going anywhere. They got to deal with that. But I wonder if they're a little happier and things have cooled off to an extent. And Fede is the last one I want to just touch on.
Yeah.
This guy is not Real Madrid captain caliber player. I just want to say that right now. I hate to say it because I really love what you sacrificed, Fede. Mina Bonino, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry to say this about your husband. But first of all, Mina, your tweets are unacceptable. Like I saw some of the tweets she's tweeted about like how my husband's a midfielder. Mina, like just stick to your day job. Like please leave this to people who are paid for it. It is deeply disrespectful. Like stick to whatever you do as your job. Like honestly. And I think like Fede's technical level, like you don't hear Tchouaméni saying I have to play CDM and like exerting pressure. He's like defending the coach.
Here's the thing. Tchouaméni will say, I prefer playing CDM, but if I need to play center back, I do what's asked of me, right? And he does it, and he doesn't leak or like whatever. I do what's asked of me, right? Like
yeah, and listen, he can get lethargic and make mistakes, but Fede is like vying for midfield place as like, and that's the thing. There's no way we have room for both of y'all in there. And at this point, I'm taking the guy who's not going up against Xabi, who's not starting locker room issues, whose wife is not saying all sorts of random shit to the media. That I just think that was disgraceful that a captain of Real Madrid who can't turn and beat a press is coming and like trying to call his shots on the position. Like that's where I lose respect for Florentino as well. I'm like, bro, are you looking at this? Like, who are you standing behind? Like you are choosing to let your coach go to war against these bums for this. Like that pissed me off.
In a midfield, to your point, Sid, where he is not technical enough, he being Fede Valverde, like you can't be demanding these things. And I'm sorry, but at right back, you're much better there, right? Like it's just much better for us when you're there versus when you're in midfield. And
I will say this. Maybe it's just his wife though saying that. I will give it to him.
Who knows who it is, but it's and look, I get it. Like And to me, if you're going to be a captain of this team, you have to. It's okay to have a disagreement with the coach and be on the side of your guys, but in the locker room, that politicking and all that, like you can't be starting camps and dividing like that. As the leader, you've got to be above camps, right? Like you have to be like, no, I am camp-less, because the reason why I have the captain's badge is because I value the club over individual people's feelings and camps, right? And clearly this year that has not been the case with Bede, as he is obviously one of the players who is upset with Xabi Alonso in this tug of war and push pull. I think, again, I wanted to go back to Jude really quick. Jude did have some really nice runs from deep, by the way, in this game. And so I do think he can go back to that. I just think, to your point, Sid, the profiles have to readjust themselves on this squad so that he can do that, right? We need them to get back to a balance, right? Look, everybody, when Carlo kept saying this team lacks balance, those of us who are in tune and we knew what he was saying, but I think a lot of people just kind of dismissed it. Well, this is what he was saying. It's like his team is imbalanced the way it is right now, right? Like we can't have these profiles don't fit, right? Like we lack certain things, right? And so I think that if we get that situation fixed, which I hope we do, I think we can see Jude again as that box to box, right? As that 6, that 8, right? Like I think he can really do that.
Well, I thought today he was phenomenal at, like Lacante was pointing it out, and I saw it too. He kind of like bullied their sixes, played side to side, made passes, and also was very patient, trying to attract defenders towards him. Still releases the ball slower sometimes, but like Vinny was a lot more egregious for me, not than Jude, like a lot. Jude was trying to, again, there were sequences where he took a while, but he was just trying to make the City players come near him and then just release it somewhere.
Which is what you want, right? When you are in sport, the goal is to force the defense to commit first, right? That is the goal, because once they do that, right, dominoes then fall behind them, right? It's what you want. You want them to break their shape, get out of their rhythm a little bit. Okay, now I can turn, right? If I've got 2 or 3 guys around me, what does that mean? There's acres of space everywhere else on the pitch, right? Yep. Somewhere there's space, right? Now it's our job to get into it, for me to find it, right? This is just fucking football 101.
So Jude is aware of that, but out of our defenders, the only one who could do that today was Carreras.
Can we talk about Alvaro, who has had a run of performances that, let's be honest, right, had been poor, but he played so well today. I thought he was phenomenal. And again, it's not about piling on Vinny. That I don't understand how Vinny, and I blame him.
Ignores him.
I'm just like, bro, like this is not Fran Garcia or Furlan Mendy making overlapping runs. Like, you have a capable person. Like, come on. He literally just.
No, that was infuriating. The one where Carreras is overlapping and he has no other option and he just goes and shoots into the middle. I'm like, oh my God, bro, you have an ego and a half. Like, you got to learn. And I'm sorry. Now, that's what I want to say. Like, I like Vinny, and I hate the way Mbappe moves off the ball sometimes. I just want to, and I'm hedging with sometimes, because I still think it's a question of us just having a controller who releases everyone. But at the end of the day, I'd rather a guy who shoots a lot than a guy who over dribbles. Like, honestly, like a guy who shoots for himself still does more for your football team than an over dribbler. Like, over dribbling is one of my biggest pet peeves, Jarod. I hate it. I hate it from the bottom of my soul. Like, it's just the worst thing. It's just amateur playground shit. How did we, like, you won so much and you've let your ego and the contract get to your head to the point where you're not willing to pass to the overlap? I defend Vinny for missing that volley. Like 0.33 XG. Give him 2 more of those, you'll hit one. And mathematically, you do need 3 of those to guarantee you score one.
There you go. That's what 0.33 is.
Yeah. So where I don't forgive him is the first half, actually, with some of those passes. And like, not all of them, but some of the easy ones where it's literally obvious, just an overlap. Some of the others you might think, maybe if I take a touch, the situation will change. Situation was going nowhere there.
Yep.
I was really sad watching that. And however, I do think like the way we lost with Vinny leading the attack now, like I obviously Florentino doesn't take a stance because he's weird and worried about his investments or whatever. But you could, if you're a serious club, you can go be like, hey, Vinny, fucking pass. What the fuck were you doing? I don't know if that combo is happening now. That's my worry because of the way Vinny is.
I mean, how do you when they sit in film session tomorrow or whenever they watch them? I mean, if I'm Xabi, I have nothing. Literally, my video guys, I just cut up all the times he made shitty decisions, turned the ball over, and I just this was you yesterday. The offense ran entirely through you, and this is what we got. And I'll look at Alvaro making this overlapping run. Here is the. By the way, remember it was the Valencia game. I think he scored the fourth goal when Alvaro put that Galazzo from just outside the box, and we're like, "Yo, we didn't know he had that in him." This kid has game and some talent, but Jesus Christ, if you don't let him fucking do something with the ball. And here's the thing: to what I said about ambition versus agenda, Alvaro's not selfish. If Vinny passes him the ball and runs, Alvaro will give it right back to him. Like he will pass it back to him in a more advantageous position. Like,
no, there's no combination play, and it's like it's a disgrace to anyone who watched Ronaldo and Marcelo. Don't pretend this is justifiable. Don't justify Vinny. Like, yes, we won twice, and so he learned to play away with Ferland Mendy, who just doesn't get up there. But doesn't mean when you have the option, you don't have to take it. I think that was a lot of it, though. You know, we've learned things. There's a long way to go. Going forward, we need more Endrick, less Rudiger. We're screwed, by the way. I think
we have no choice because we have no fit center backs. Right? By the way, there is no timeline on Dean Howson's return. Zero.
Yeah, so I think the season. I just want to say I think the season is over.
I love that you put the graphic up in case anybody didn't know.
Like, listen, guys, I've been here too many times. We survived the first time, 24. Each other time, it's like a stupider version of the same scenario. We're clearly not going to make it the whole year, just doing this bullshit. Rudiger is cooked. I just don't think Joan Martinez is going to suddenly be able to start all these games, and he's going to have some mistakes in him if he plays. You might I think there's a reason the Castilla guys are not playing. I'll just put it that way. And so if you do go play them because your senior players can't play, who knows what's going to happen. But I do think we have to have like a Raul Asensio situation like last year. Someone needs to come through because at this point, Alaba is better than Rudiger on the ball. Rudiger's cooked. Militao's done. Yeah, Dean is indefinite. What is going on?
Dean indefinite. There's no timeline for Dean's return. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's why I think on some level, like lack of playmaking, Gonzalo being a limited Joselu, if we're going there, like a worse Joselu, honestly, way worse at many things, who can just do the role things. Just because the profile is missing, the team looks perfect. But Goulart still can't turn out of pressure. So we're just missing agency.
By the way, you saw that why Goulart, and this is not about knocking Arda, but you saw why not starting him in these kinds of matches makes sense because when those first 30 minutes when we were like pressing and winning, Arda just can't win the ball back like that. Like he just can't. Like I'm sorry, guys. Like that's just not. Like he tries. I'm not saying he doesn't give effort. He does, but he cannot win it at the level necessary, right? Like think about the Liverpool match, right? Like Sobosai and who's the other midfielder? Like they were punking him. Like they were like, "Yo, bro, this is how you got to play the baseline level to play midfield in Europe." Like, and they punked him. Like,
yeah, no, they punked Arda. And I think a lot of people are going to say, like a counter argument that's reasonable is that Mbappe was not here today as well. But the Clásico with, I guess all three of them did play the Clásico. That's looking like a miracle now. The fact that we played a good defensive half against Barcelona with Goulart, Vinny, and Mbappe on the pitch.
Because
looking like that's never happening again.
Physicality-wise, Barca's midfield technically excellent. But no one in there is knocking you off the ball, right? Like Olmo.
Right? We still gave up a goal off that. But
I mean, also true.
we still gave up the goal. But well, I think that but that timeline, that team that achieved that is never coming back. I think and I'm happy because just between Vinny's reaction when he was subbed, not using Gonzalo, Franco being phased out of the team.
Yeah, those were weird, right?
Franco has pubalgia. I get it, but just the general the role player profiles being phased out in favor of these stars demanding where they play. Oh man, it's just been disgusting, and I just have a feeling today could have brought the end of that because it's just knowing a lot of pieces missing. He kind of got to do what he wants. Fede, you play right back. It was better, and I'm hoping that this leads the club to back him, but I think he needs to win the next two La Liga games.
Yeah, and to your point, okay, so He needs to win the next 2 La Liga games. I agree. What are the chances that if he feels these guys again, that they give the same level of effort against who do we play on Sunday? Getafe? No, not Getafe. Somebody pull it up. Who we play on Sunday?
Let me look it up. Real Madrid play against Alaves, and then we
Alaves.
Talavera in the Copa del Rey.
What are the chances that against Alaves we see that same level of intensity by these players? Not likely.
I'm worried.
Not likely. Now, so
but
if
you
that
bench
is
a star,
well, that's where I'm going. If that is likely going to happen, if they're going to be dog shit against Alaves, if you're Xabi, you're already on the hot seat, right? Fuck it. Like I'm going to put in the young kids who will try. Masensuano and or Endrick will run their asses off, right? Gonzalo will run his ass off. Like, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So you think Xabi makes it past this game? I think if you sack him at this game, I honestly think there are too many logical people around the club who are like, I'm out. Like, this is stupid. Like, what are you guys doing? Like,
if you sack him after this game, you have made it very clear to the players that, it's our way. Whatever we want goes. We'll bring in some substitute teacher, babysitter to pacify them until the end of the season, and they'll be running amok even more. And then whoever we bring in the summer, because again, Sid, all these names I hear out there, Jurgen Klopp, this one, that one. You think Jurgen Klopp wants to deal with this shit?
Oh, there was a report. There was a report that they had a talk in Mallorca in March. Jurgen Klopp asked for full control of transfers, youth team, and Castilla. And Real Madrid said, fuck no.
And why do you separate whether or not you think Klopp is good or not or whatever? Why do you think Jurgen asked for all that control? Because he fucking knows.
He knows.
He's like, I can't play my style with people who don't want to run or work out of possession. So no, I have to be in control of all that.
Yeah. And I think Alonso needs to be bold and Perez needs to be bold. They both need to be gold together, because I think it's obvious now that if Alonso kept benching Vinny around the Clásico, Vinny would go behind his back and talk shit about him. And Perez just doesn't have the balls to push back on him. Perez fucked up. You did not punish him.
You let Cristiano Ronaldo go. You let Sergio Ramos go. Fuck, you let Raul go. Those are club legends.
Ronaldo was better than Vinny. I don't want to hear shit about Vinny. We saw Cristiano play.
On. Yeah. Like, you got to be like, hey, man, if I let them dudes go, same thing you say. Hey, if you can command a $250 million selfie, we will happily move you along. If not, whatever Xabi says goes. How hard is that?
Yeah, and any serious coach will want to make the same choices as Alonso. Alonso will get a job anywhere else. That's the worst part, Jarod. He's winning somewhere else. He's building a dynasty somewhere while we fuck around.
And this is my fear, is that this club does something stupid, lets him go. A smart club is like, this guy is going to be really good. They bring him along, and then we have to face him in the Champions League. And because he's a competitor, to cue the Jordan meet, and I took that personally. And every time he plays us, whatever squad he has, cooks us and works the shit out of us.
It's going to be a battle. And 100%. That needs to change. And I just want to see Endrick, Gonzalo Garcia, Franco, and I want to see them paired with Mbappe. Like, that's the thing. What pisses me off is this whole dynamic is preventing Mbappe from just playing with an Endrick or Gonzalo more, which is what would optimize him, the highest goal scorer. You can fit Vinny and Jude around that. People keep complaining Mbappe off ball movement. Okay, put a 9 up there, have him play off someone. And then these guys have to then play off that, which they don't always do. So he's not even doing that. And that's the buy-in that was there in the Club World Cup. And honestly, this started when he was going to bench Vinny for the PSG game. I just feel like he's been, ever since that day, Vinny decided, hey, like, I'm going to be a victim. I'm going to choose to say, like, when you bench me, I'm going to choose to ignore the times I didn't track and try to make this about you instead of just doing what's needed. And I hate victim mentality, and especially at a club like this, like, again, like you said, labor versus management. I think at lower level operations that are not being paid millions of dollars, you can make excuses for whoever, coddle whoever, be nice, build a family. This is Real Madrid. No room for complacency. Like, no room for lying. Like, there's room for family if it helps everyone. Like, back Alonso if it means getting the players in line. But there's no room for this family bullshit where you choose where you play and you can control the coach. I should have seen more of this coming, though, from that Club World Cup thing. That was a very that was very weird. And we lost 4-0 with that shit, and it still came out, bro. Like, what are you trying to adjust? Are you trying to say, like, you playing helped us, like, play better. You didn't defend well.
Correct. We got cooked.
Like, where's your head putting that out?
It is. And by the way, and none of this is. Vinny is losing leverage every second. It's like, bro, who in the world is going to give you, besides Saudi, going to give you $30 million a season? You'd have to be high. Madrid definitely not doing that. Like, for what? The output's not there right now. I'm sorry. And you're not doing the other things. This is funny in the chat here. I think Keiki might have brought it up. If, let's say, the club doesn't back Xabi and he goes, there's chat saying that Liverpool's the perfect squad for him. What would he do with that Liverpool squad?
I think
Florian Wirtz and he's got Katike Isak. Like, I mean, I think he could cook with that squad.
I still think that squad has the same issue as us, the playmaking, but and they figured it out finally. They played a little diamond with McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai, and then McAllister comes off for Wirtz, that midfield diamond behind the front two. And hey, if they hadn't fallen out, Salah would have looked nice in that front two next to Teke, but now it's fallen out, so you don't get that option, which sucks. I think without Salah, they're lacking a little bit in width and also the playmaking. But I think I think the problem is you take someone like Alonso there, and he works in lockstep with Michael Edwards, goes and buys the best players, figures out exactly what they need, and they are a juggernaut because he did it at Leverkusen. And listen, I don't know when's the last time I know we had 95 points that year, but man, that was not as good as the 100-point year under Mourinho. Not close. Like Mourinho was like 5-0 done in the 30th minute. Here we're looking at Jude winners like the first 3 months of the year, which was great. It was great that we ended up in the one timeline where Jude scores the winner every single fucking time.
Right.
Like 100
great.
times.
It was wonderful.
It was. And the timeline where literally like maybe the second chance he gets goes in, but today you see why that's not always going to happen. Like, it's not like every time he touches it goes in the last 2 years. That's why I think XG is so real. People say like missing chances. Listen, it's all down to XG. You created 1 XG worth of chances. One of your shots deserves to go in. And today we created 1.7. Could have created more, but overall the plan wasn't bad though. I think I just want to end on in terms of the performance and wrap it up here. Not a bad performance whatsoever, but very key flaws in playmaking and just Rodrygo being dead, Fede being dead. If we can solve the personnel, like the system looked fine to me.
Yeah, I think Xabi coached had a good tactical plan. I think the players gave the requisite effort. I do think that we had some wasteful moments and some poor decision making by certain players up front. We discussed all that. We gave shine to Carreras. We thought was great. Jude Bellingham I thought played well also. Rodrygo. Right, Courtois came up with some big saves. Tchouameni, as usual, at the DM spot. I thought we saw a lot of good things. You know, the question is now, Sid, as the board is watching this and Florentino's watching this, are they having measured and rational conversation? It doesn't mean that they're not disagreeing. Disagreements happen. That's fine. But ultimately, are they seeing what we're all seeing? And it's like, no, this is the guy we got to back because he's got the right idea. And if these players, as we see, don't want to do the thing, well, they got to go. Because aside from Mbappe, right, no one is out here producing at a level that, Mbappe, Jude, and we actually did this, you and I sort of, I think on our last show, right, where we talked about everyone who stays. I mean, on this club, if I'm rebuilding, there's like 6 or 7 dudes who stay. Like, if we're being fully honest. If we're being really honest, right? Like, it's not that many.
Yeah, and we're going to end it here, Jarod. I don't want to get into this because it'll go forever, but
for sure.
Joke to end, one guy says, the fucked up thing is the injuries won't stop. The squad is going to be all over the place all season. Rumor is that Perez thinks that Pintus is the reason things are worse physically. So buckle up. We're in for a long
Pintus, who still operates like it's 1988? No.
Well, here's the thing. That's the thing, Jarod. It's interesting, right? Because even though he does, if the new thing you implement isn't superior baseline to what Pintus did, then even 1988 works better if you're half-assed implementing something that's not working. And that's where the club is starting to wonder, like, is this the Gregory Dupont situation where you try to go into the future and you go backwards with 60 injuries? Just go back to Pintus, like look shitty in fall and win in the spring again. And I'm just saying, I hate to say it, but like when you're in such a unique environment like that and you have so few people you can trust, you have no choice sometimes, because it's not like Florentino clearly doesn't care about like owning the medical side of things as much as the commercial side, which is fine. Like not everyone's going to be passionate. not everyone was like me who's obsessed with all
Right.
that weird health shit. But
But that weird hell shit, as you call it, is critical for success.
oh no, that stuff is that's the number one lever for winning. Like as we've discussed, it's the number one lever. And is Perez being rational about who's betting hurt, who he can move? That's the question. And and the other things, the organization. So all these will be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't want to get dive too into the Pintus thing.
No. We'll be here for 5 hours. Listen,
Oh.
thank you guys as always for tuning in. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it, right, with your friends. If you want to listen to this later, we'll have the audio versions on Apple and Spotify, right? Do that as well. Comment there, rate us 5 stars, all that stuff. Guys, we are independent, and it helps us in the algorithm when you like and share and comment. And as you see, we engage in the comments under YouTube. So please do that as well. And Sid, we'll see everybody again some point.
Yeah, we will. We will do a keep sell pod. We'll do a lot more. We're just trying to optimize our holidays as well around this.
Correct.
But we will be back. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you guys on Sunday.